I think it's very important for us to think about our region as encompassing both the Indian Ocean and the Pacific. From Australia's perspective, it's been a very important construct conceptually to allow us to bring India into our strategic frame. It also allows us to think more deeply and more systematically about maritime cooperation and maritime security. So it's become a very important construct for Australia. What's pleasing to see is that India is also taking on the Indo-Pacific construct and is looking at it as a way of articulating its foreign policy objectives and goals. And from Australia's perspective, what that includes is building a stronger relationship with Australia. I think relations between Australia and India at the moment are very good anyway. Truth be told, I think the last few years has seen that relationship improved and go from strength to strength. The cornerstone of that improvement has actually been the defence and security relationship. So we have a comprehensive strategic partnership in place, and what we've seen in the last couple of years is a much deeper military and strategic engagement, including, for example, bilateral naval exercises, the last of which was held only just in June off the coast of Perth, so very recently. I think there is more we can do in the military and security space, for example, by extending those arrangements to include much deeper operational cooperation between our militaries, for example. And obviously there's a great deal of scope beyond the military in the economic sphere. And we've seen in August this year, Trade Minister Chobo brought 157 Australian businesses to India and a great business week in India. That is a sign of the extent of interest that we see by Australia in India. Understanding the Indian economy better, building the economic and investment links, I think will actually deepen and propel our economic relationship forward. I think for both Australia and India, there is scope for us to be more literate, to understand each other a bit better, and to move away from tried and tested ideas about Australia or India. For most Indians, I think the perception of Australia is overwhelmingly positive. We are seen as a nice country, a clean country full of friendly people, and our great asset is we play cricket. Sometimes they win, which is very worrying for us, but it's all in good fun. What I think we could do on both sides is to develop a more textured and deeper and more sophisticated understanding of each other. Australians seeing India as a modern, dynamic, technology-savvy country, which it is. India also seeing Australia as a sophisticated economy, as a country that can make a genuine contribution to India's economic development and its aspirations. So there's a lot of scope yet for us to understand each other better, and from that understanding, I think we can build a very strong relationship. I think that people will always comment on specific governments or specific policies of another country. But in my engagement with India's foreign policy community, there is a recognition that a relationship between two countries goes far beyond in any individual government or any individual president of the United States. Generally speaking, I don't think there is a great deal of anxiety or a great deal of views actually in either way. The India-US relationship has gone from strength to strength in the last few years. It is a relationship that is growing in confidence and aspiration, and there is no sense in the foreign policy community that I can detect that there is going to be any slowing in that relationship going forward. Indians have welcomed, by and large, the election of President Trump, who has during his election campaign and afterwards, said very positive things about India and Indians, and who held a couple of months ago a very successful visit to Washington with Prime Minister Modi, where President Trump spent a great deal of time with the Prime Minister, and the two appeared to get on very well. So I think, on balance, the outlook for the India-United States relationship is very positive.